Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, everybody? MJC Sports YouTube channel. We back at it. 2026, Max. It's January, the end of the season. You know what that means. We're doing All-Pro list. MJC All-Pro. This is what? Fourth annual?
Fourth annual sounds right. Is it
Fourth-
bad we lost count? But I don't know. It's been a lot of teams, and I think we've done it differently in other years. This one was like a joint list because two lists is too difficult because we always like to start nitpicking each other. So I think we went about it a good way. I think this is the way it'll go in the future.
One requirement. There is no requirements. All right. This is our fucking list at the end of the day. So the NFL does it a certain way. You know, who is it? The writers that wind up voting on this? What?
Yeah. We do it differently too with the way our team's constructed. I think it's a disservice to the quarterbacks. We play in such a great age of quarterback play. If you look at the All-Pro teams, there's only two quarterbacks who make it every year. We have two on each team. I think that's fair. I think every year, given this was like a thinner year because so many players got hurt and didn't have spectacular years, we do it a little differently. As our list goes on, if we don't think there's a first team worthy player, we'll give it to another position. Like in our team, on our list this year, we went from usually we have three receivers, right?
Yeah.
This year we were like, no, we definitely have two, but we had a really good running back here, so let's give one of those receivers. We pretty much have like one flex spot where we can kind of just change it up as we see fit.
Yeah.
Defense as well. We were like, let's just put one extra position. We can have like an edge, a D tackle, linebacker, corner, because we agree not everyone is a first team. I think there is a special thing to being a first team All-Pro. No disrespect to the second team All-Pro. If you go back and watch our GOAT series, our Cheer Talk list, Tom Brady has 6 first team All-Pros. You would not think that offhand. And that just shows you how kind of flawed it is. Because there's no way Tom Brady was a All-Pro 6 times only. No.
And I'm going to say this. I think a great way to form your All-Pro list is obviously, like you're basing it off the year. And in that sense, like you wanted to encapsulate what this year was in 2025. And it's like, who had the best year? Not who's the best quarterback in the league, the most valuable, who had the best year. So yes, stats matter, impact matters, all of that stuff matters. But this is all in one year. I don't care what you did last year. I don't care what your contract's looking like next year. It's all about this year. Okay? And I would say this. If you missed more than like 4 games, that's when me and Max were like, I don't know if he should make the list, bro. Like he missed 4 games.
Correct.
Part of it is availability. So look, let's stop talking about it. Let's show you guys, all right? I'm going to put the graphic on the screen for you guys. This is our first team All-Pro offense, okay? So as you see, the 2 quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford and Drake May. Running backs, we got Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson. For wide receivers, we have Jackson Smith and Jigba and Puka Nacua. For tight end, we have Trey McBride. Tackles, Trent Williams and Penei Sewell. Then we got the 2 guards, Quentin Nelson, Quinn Miners. How do you say his last name, Max?
Yeah, Miners.
That's
how I said it.
Center.
Minehurts or something. Yeah.
Center, Creed Humphrey from the Kansas City Chiefs. And in our flex spot, like we were talking about earlier, we put Jonathan Taylor. So, Max, where do you want to start off with this list? I feel like the 2 obvious ones to get out of the way, Matthew Stafford and Drake May, it's pretty self-explanatory. These are the 2 guys that are battling for the MVP. Any words to say about the quarterbacks, Max?
No, I don't think there was even a close third place. We'll go into our second team a little later, but neither of the guys on second team, I think, belonged on first team. I think these were the 2 clear-cut best quarterbacks. They're the 2 frontrunners for the MVP. If you guys watched this last night or previously, we've talked about how we think it's Stafford, but Drake May, an absolute tremendous year. We didn't think guys like Bo Nix, they were the number 1 seed. Or Sam Darnold, for instance. They were not the best quarterbacks. They didn't have great years statistically. On the field, they kind of wavered. They each had some bad games. Bo Nix was kind of a slow start. I just want to bring up our logic. I think these were the 2 quarterbacks that meant the most to their team and did the most this year. So that's what I think. And I think we kind of carry that to the running back position. Christian McCaffrey. I'm not a big Christian McCaffrey guy. I respect how good he is. He's a Niner, so people are going to say you're a hater. Look, he is a fantastic player. He's not my cup of tea. He's not really what I love, but I'm not going to take away from 1K each one. And like for a Niners team that went through so many guys, he was the stalwart. We were like, when's he getting hurt? And he didn't get hurt. He carried them. He, to me, is the third place MVP guy. If we're not going to give it to the quarterbacks, he would be the guy to me. Yeah. That's my logic. And I think we carried that to Christian McCaffrey. Like, there's not a close guy other than Bijan Robinson in my mind.
Yeah, Bijan Robinson, I want to say he wound up winning the crown as far as all scrimmage yards. He had a late game surge. The Falcons went on like a 4-game win streak to end the year. Bijan had that great game against the Rams on Monday Night Football. So that was a big showing. And, McCaffrey, Max said it best. Like, this guy was the best player in football, arguably, non-quarterback wise. And that's something to say. And he played all year, played every single game, and he was everything for the 49ers. I made a video probably about 6 weeks ago talking about how important McCaffrey was to his team. Everyone got hurt for the Niners. Tackle, tight end, quarterback, defensive end, linebacker. You know who didn't get hurt? Christian McCaffrey. And I think he was a big reason why that team stayed afloat, was because of him. And you can arguably put him on here as a receiver. That's how good he was this year. 1K yards for receiving, 1K yards for rushing. Jonathan Taylor, a lot of people, the first 8 weeks of the season, it was a no-brainer. He was talking about MVP. Like, this guy was the MVP of the league. He had like 15 touchdowns at the time, 17, I think. Crazy amount. Daniel Jones gets hurt. The whole team goes downhill, including him stat-wise. But you can't undermine the year that he had in totality. It sucked what happened at the end of the year, but that's why he's not RB1 or RB2. We were talking about receivers this year, and we put Puka Nacua and JSN. There really wasn't that third guy that really deserved to be that next flex spot. Because every single year for the last, 5 years, Max, in a row, I would probably argue like 6 or 7. Yeah. It's been a third receiver.
Yeah, it's usually a really tough conversation. It's like, well, which two receivers? Who's the third guy? This year, I was really comfortable saying there is no guy who deserves the first team All-Pro. I think the two we have were the two best receivers in football this year. Look, no disrespect to Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Those are still my number ones going in. But like we said, this is this year. No one had a better year than Jackson Smith and Njigba. Puka Nacua meant so much to the Rams offense, especially when Devontae Adams got hurt late in the year. So I'm going with these two guys. Statistics, they got it. Impact on the field. They were awesome this year. There's nothing to be said. And that goes on to Trey McBride. There's no tight end. Little spoiler. There isn't a second team all tight end. We did something a little different. Trey McBride broke the single season receptions record by Zach Ertz. He was awesome for the Cardinals. They didn't have Marvin Harrison Jr. for a long part of the season. Michael Wilson just exploded the last few weeks. But Trey McBride, he's the best tight end in football, guys.
And I want to move on to the offensive lineman, Trent Williams. And I want to focus on him because now counting this whole first team All-Pro, Max, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys from the NFC West in the first team All-Pro. That goes to show you how great that division was.
Didn't even think about that making this list. Crazy.
But yeah, so Trent Williams, pretty self-explanatory. Look, I don't think there was another guy who took a Penei Sewell type of step like he did last year to take the crown from Trent Williams. I think he has the impact. He's the whole package. It's probably most likely his last elite year. We'll see what happens. This guy just keeps on producing at an elite level. So who knows when he's going to stop, but he's getting old in the tooth. But as old as he is still the best tackle in the league. And we're going to move on to the other tackle, Penei Sewell from the Detroit Lions. Look, in all honesty, he probably had his ugliest game of his career by far against the was it Chicago? No, who was it?
Week one Packers, I thought.
Packers. There you go. Packers.
That being said, I'm not going to disregard his whole year because he's so dominant. He's such a great player. He does so much for them. He got banged up the last game of the year. Penei Sewell, it was a little bit of a downslope from last year because last year we were like, holy crap, this is like the best tackle for the next 10 years. And I still think that. He's still so young. But there was, like you said, there was nobody on this list. I was like, oh, who had a better year than Panay? So I would still wouldn't agree with that.
And let's move on to the guards and the centers, the interior guys. Look, I think Creed Humphrey and Quentin Nelson are pretty self-explanatory. Creed Humphrey has been one of the best centers, if not the best, for the last 3 years.
Since Kelsey left, yeah, it's not even a competition. Yeah. It's thin. It's a thin position.
Yeah. And then Quentin Nelson, he's been great. It's just this year he has the numbers to back it up. And you have to associate Jonathan Taylor with that line from the Colts. Like, that's a big reason why he had a hot start to the year. Quinn Miners, though.
Dude, Sean Payton, you think about all the great teams he's had. He always finds these type of guys late in the draft, like third-round pick. They'll get a guy like that. Carl Nix. Who's the other guard they have? They had Ben Grubbs. They had another guard, too, in New Orleans. Jari Evans.
There you go.
They always find guys like this. And you look at Denver, one of their success was one. And we always associate Sean Payton with, he airs it out. No, he's a run-first type of guy. He loves to run the ball.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons they can. Him, Garrett Bowles, their center's really good, Wattenberg. This is one of the best guards in football. And I really kept a closer eye on him than I did last year. He's an ass kicker. I mean, you see him twice a year. You know what it's like.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to the first teamers. Great list. Now let's move on to defense. As you guys see on the screen, the most obvious one, unanimous. It was a no-brainer. We started off with Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
I think you break the sack record, you better get an All-Pro. Will Anderson, a newcomer, Max's boy. Honestly, shout out to Max.
Fought so hard for him this year. I'm glad.
Jeffrey Simmons, a guy that's not shy with all pros. This is not his first rodeo. Newcomer, Leonard Williams, big guy that I was high on in the draft, man. I think he's finally, became a vet all of a sudden, how the time flies. And he is definitely one of the best players on that Seattle defense. I think it was impossible not to have a Seattle Seahawk on this list. I think that was part of it. I feel like he's the heartbeat of that team. Linebackers, Jack Campbell and Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd, another young player. He led the league in turnovers for a good portion of the year. Jack Campbell, tackle machine, great for the Detroit Lions. Not gonna lie though, it was a tough year for linebackers. You'll see in the second team.
And honestly, if Fred Warner plays and Roquan Smith are healthy, I'm still penciling them into my first team, if that makes sense.
100%.
I just wanted to specify that, but continue to corners one and the DBs.
Patrick Surtain, Quinyon Mitchell, Derek Stingley, Derwin James, Kyle Hamilton. So we do the same thing for defense. We add a flex spot, just like we did with offense with Jonathan Taylor. We felt like there was room for another corner on this team. So we gave it to Derek Stingley. I think Quinyon Mitchell and Patrick Surtain are pretty self-explanatory. They're lockdown corners. Patrick Surtain missed a little bit of time, but nothing crazy. I think he still made an impact on the Denver Broncos. He is straight lockdown. And Derwin James, this guy just needs to stay healthy, and he had a healthy year, so he's the best safety in the league, arguably.
He was so awesome for the Chargers. I mean, we've talked about this for years. It's like they don't have the most talent on defense, but they are so well coached, and they are spearheaded by Derwin James. He is the engine for that defense. We talk about it with like Buda Baker's the heart and soul of Arizona's defense. Derwin James is no different.
Yeah, and Kyle Hamilton, one of those guys that plays slot corner, safety, regular corner, linebacker.
Linebacker.
He's all over the place. Look, he got hurt in that Sunday night game. You automatically seen the difference on the Baltimore Ravens defense all of a sudden. Pretty self-explanatory with him. I want to say one more thing about Derwin James. Derwin James, I believe, is the enforcer of the league. I think he's the hardest hitting player currently. I think he holds the crown. I don't think a lot of people talk about it like that because it's hard to be the enforcer like a Cam Chancellor or Brian Dawkins back in the day because they throw a flag every which way they get an opportunity to. But Derwin James is one of those guys that can lay the wood, and he is definitely the hardest hitting player in the league. I stand by that.
I totally agree with you on. If you don't, we can go to the second team, and if you don't mind, I'll take the lead on the second team offense. Second team offense, quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Justin Herbert; running backs: Jahmyr Gibbs, James Cook; receiver: George Pickens, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We omitted a tight end for the second team. We're not putting Kyle Pitts second team. We're not doing it. You weren't that good. Sorry, Kyle Pitts. We included another receiver, Devontae Adams. Statistically, he's not going to wow you. He had 800
Just the
yards.
touchdowns.
He had 14 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He was such a big piece of the Rams offense. Honestly, when I think they're the number one seed if he doesn't get hurt.
Yes.
I don't think they lose to Seattle with him. I don't think they lose to Atlanta with him. He means a lot to this team.
Yeah.
And then going to the O-line, Darnell Wright is the tackle, Garrett Bowles. In the interior, we have Joe Thuney, Tyler Smith, and at center, Connor McGovern. Let me tell you this. One fought tooth and nail for a second center. I was ready to be like, there ain't nobody worthy. It's thin at center.
Yeah.
But I think, to be honest, Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, they're pretty easy to explain. Mahomes got hurt. There's no way Lamar Jackson, with all the time he missed, made it. Jalen Hurts, absolutely not. Justin Herbert was an MVP candidate for a large part of the year. He kind of fell off. And then Josh Allen, both these quarterbacks to me won. Second team All-Pro. If you have an argument for first team, I get it because they have to be Superman for their team. But this is where we had them based off the year they had. And I think there's not really much you could say otherwise.
Matthew Stafford and Drake May had better years than Josh Allen. Does that necessarily mean that they're better? No, absolutely not. But Josh Allen still deserves a second team All-Pro. Same thing with Justin Herbert.
Statistics, and I don't want the viewers to think, oh, we're all about statistics, because that's not it. Because you go right down the list, you have James Cook. He won the rushing title. He didn't make first team All-Pro. I don't think he was as impactful as Bijan Robinson. Definitely not as McCaffrey. He turned over the ball a ton. I think he had 6 fumbles.
Yeah.
And something about this, guys. Teams, when they play the Buffalo Bills, they're like, well, how do we shut down 17? We're not as worried about James Cook.
Yeah, he benefits from Josh.
Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, McCaffrey. It's like, okay, those are the guys. I would go so far to say Jahmyr Gibbs is a little bit higher than James Cook as well.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs had a really good year. Again, think about it. He don't even get the usage other guys get. We'll get into that later. Maybe we should have mentioned it, especially when it comes to defenders.
Yeah.
Just because you get a lot of snaps and you're a little bit more productive than somebody who played half as much as you, I'm more inclined to be like, damn, the guy who played half as much was just as productive, right?
Right.
And that kind of is how I felt about the whole James Cook thing. Yeah, he was really productive. He got the ball a ton. Jahmyr Gibbs, you switch him, I'm thinking he puts up even better numbers in Buffalo than James Cook.
Yeah. Another guy I want to highlight, George Pickens, very well deserved. He had a great year.
Yeah.
Great year. I think George Pickens was one of the no-brainers where, like, he's not going to be a first-team All-Pro. He didn't have a better year than Puka and JSN, but he damn sure deserves an All-Pro. So we had to fit him in this second team along with St. Brown, Devontae Adams, and Jamar Chase. I think all those guys are self-explanatory. We already gave you the explanation on Devontae Adams. As far as other receivers that could have made it, we're thinking a little bit about Chris Olave. I don't think the impact was there. He had a great year. It was a great bounce back year for Olave. Devontae Smith, not consistent enough. Nico Collins, not consistent enough. Yeah.
Moving on to the O-line, Darnell Wright, Garrett Bowles, Joe Thuney. I want to highlight these 3 guys specifically because they were part of really good teams, and they were just really great things. When you're a lineman, what don't you want to hear? You don't want to hear your name if you're a lineman. If you hear your name, usually not having a good game. Yeah. Darnell Wright, really good for the right side of the Chicago Bears. Joe Thuney, why did the Chiefs trade him? Probably should have kept him.
I think it was only right. It was only right to put 2 Chicago Bears on this list just because how successful they were on the ground. Ben Johnson handpicked these guys for a reason. These guys are all pros, Pro Bowls, great players, man. They don't get the recognition, but they definitely some dogs on that offensive line. Tyler Smith, another guy that we are big fans of. I was a big fan of him coming out of college. I think Max is a huge fan of him now, realizing the versatility of Tyler Smith, guard, tackle. He's like a jack of all trades for the Dallas Cowboys. And then Connor McGovern, we kind of went over him earlier. I think you had to reward a center that was part of that rushing crown with James Cook. I do think that has to mean something. That's why I wound up giving the vote to him. But look, if you wanted to put another center, I totally understand it.
I thought another guy we could have included easily was, like you said, Jordan Mailata, Tyler Booker, somebody we both loved coming out of Alabama.
Rookie.
Was awesome. Tristan Wirfs could easily have been one of these tackles. There's no denying it. Alaric Johnson, Kevin Doxson, guys we really wanted, but
Yeah.
it gets thin. There's not a lot of positions. It's not, you don't get 6 receivers, you don't get 6 guards.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
And
I just wanted to highlight that.
other guys that were in honorable mentions for offense was on the quarterback side. Dak Prescott was really hard to keep off this list. We gave it to Justin Herbert because I feel like he made it to the playoffs. He was playing hurt, dude. Like it was hard to leave Herbert
Correct.
off. Devon Achane had an amazing year. It just sucks that running backs
Derrick Henry a little bit.
Derrick Henry, he came in second for rushing yards this year, but too inconsistent. I think same thing with Devon Achane. I think his floor was really high. Every game he just really just produced numbers all year. But there goes for offense and defense. Let's show you defense real quick for our second team. Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Burns for the edges. Defensive tackles, Derek Brown, Zach Allen. Linebackers, gonna be surprised here. We got our first rookie on the list. Carson Swessinger and Zach Bond from the Eagles. We go over to DBs, Denzel Ward, J.C. Horn, Kamari Lassiter, Cooper DeJean, and Kevin Byard, safety from the Chicago Bears. Max, what stands out from this second team All-Pro?
I feel really bad about the D-line because there's so many great players we left off. And the guys I do, like Derek Brown, I really wanted to give him his flowers. It's an absolute travesty he didn't get named to the Pro Bowl. It just makes him more meaningless. This is one of the best players in football, and he's a D tackle. He kicks butt. He gets a lot of run stops. He's getting double-teamed constantly. He opens up their defense. If you guys have a chance, if Carolina has a chance to win this game, if you guys watch the Rams game, if he dominates this game, it could ruin the Rams game plan in a lot of different ways. That's how talented he is. Brian Burns, he's on a bad Giants team. He never stopped playing. Me and one really appreciate that about guys. Max Crosby was so close to making it because we have so much respect for guys who don't quit, guys who play with the effort. Aiden Hutchinson played, I think, every snap. I don't think he got one snap off. I was looking up. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
He played 972 snaps, and you're going to wonder, well, he led the league in pressures. So did Will Anderson, but he only played 300 less snaps. So that was kind of the defining factor. Zach Allen kicks butt. There's a reason the Denver Broncos led the league in sacks. Nick Bonito, who honestly could have made this list. Zach Allen wrecks from inside. It's ridiculous one. Yeah. That's my little thing on the D-line. I think it was the D-line drove us crazy.
Yes.
We drove crazy. Micah Parsons didn't make it. He probably makes it if he doesn't get hurt. Daniil Hunter, we had to reward somebody from Houston. You look at this list, there's a lot of guys from Houston. Kamari Lassiter might surprise people. He's a hell of a player. He had the most tackles for a DB, which is just unreal. He's such a good player.
Yeah, and I want to inform you guys, we made a typo in the graphic. It says Brian Burns there, but it should be Max Crosby, just an FYI.
Shut up. Shut up. I was like, did we make a typo?
But look, I want to highlight one guy in particular. I mentioned him earlier, Carson Swessinger, only rookie on this whole All-Pro list that we had. Like we said, it was very thin at linebacker, and I felt like he was very, very good this year for a rookie. Guy out of UCLA, had a handful of turnovers this year. He can sack the quarterback. He's really good in coverage. He's a tackle machine. That Cleveland Browns defense was really good this year. J.C. Horn, Kamari Lassiter, Cooper DeJean. Anything?
I think you should highlight Cooper DeJean. I think you should. I don't want to sound like the Eagle fan. That was Juan's pick.
That was my pick.
I didn't argue. I didn't put up much of a fight. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, but I was like, hey, you said Cooper DeJean. So tell us why. Tell us why, Juan. I don't want to be a homer.
Look, I just think he's a poor man's version of your modern day slot corner, nickel, dime linebacker. He can play a little bit of outside corner as much as Max doesn't want to admit it. I think with certain matchups, he matches up really good on the outside, but he's a hell of a player, man, for the Eagles. I think it's really hard to watch the Eagles every Sunday and not notice Cooper DeJean on your screen. He's going to make a play some way, somehow.
Yeah, I'm going to highlight a couple honorable mentions I didn't say earlier. I want to talk about Kobe Turner from the Rams, Byron Young. They're just awesome players. And one really close to my heart, Byron Murphy. He was really good for the Seahawks. We talked about how we were really underwhelmed with him. He shut us up. He absolutely shut us up. Other guys, Devin Witherspoon, if he doesn't get hurt, Christian Gonzalez, again, guys who missed a lot of time, or like you miss a quarter of the season. It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough for us to say, well, let's put you over someone who played all 17 games. You know, that's my last little bit.
Yeah, and then Kevin Byard. It was hard for safety second team. I'm not gonna lie, but he had a bunch of
Led the league in
turnovers this
picks.
year. Yeah, he led the league in picks.
He was in the right
was all
place
over
at
the
the right
place.
time. Yeah, it's a great year.
Yeah. Some other honorable mentions that we had for corner: AJ Terrell, Nashawn Wright, another Chicago Bear who had a bunch of picks. Guy that came out of nowhere, had a great year. Cameron Hayward, interior defensive lineman, great year for him. Old as shit, still pushing along. We felt really bad leaving him off, honestly. He had a great year, but we really liked what Derek Brown and Zach Allen brought to the table. Everyone can't make it, man. There's a lot of great players, especially when it comes to defense. Like, there's so many great defensive guys in the league, especially on the defensive line. It was hard, man. Me and Max were going back and forth. That was the longest portion of our arguing back and forth. It really wasn't offense; it was defense that gave us the most problems. But shout out to anyone that made our team. And we enjoy doing this. We put a lot of work into it. We talk about it. We look forward to it every single year. We'll see how we compare to the actual All-Pro list. Sometimes it's way different. Sometimes it's very similar. But I wouldn't be surprised if ours is completely different from the actual All-Pro list.
We're going to have to see how many we get right.
All right, but that's going to do it, man. We hope you guys appreciate this one. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like the video. We've got a bunch of content coming out this midweek. It's playoff time. We're doing game previews. We're going to probably record that right after this. We're going to predict every single game. We're going to do a pick'ems. If you guys are OGs of the channel, you guys know about the pick'ems. We haven't done the pick'ems in like 2 years. So we're finally going to do a pick'ems for the playoffs. First round wild card weekend. So stay tuned for that. Max, any last words?
Guys, we appreciate it. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate it. I'm good. Let's get to the pick'ems on.
We out. Peace.
Big dreams, everything ain't what it seems. Glittering gold both ways. Machines, not on my team. This organic, we don't buy streams.